Well, hello and welcome. You are listening to the Millionaire's Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. It is WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, our favorite radio station. And we are creating millionaires, one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, and one dime at a time. And that means you. That means you. I am so excited because we are planning for fourth quarter. And I know folks are feeling like, 2020 just kind of took us all out. Let me tell you something. We're moving beyond 2020, and this too shall pass. And we are going to get everything that we need to not only survive what we are in, but also to thrive while we are in it. And so I want you to know that the game is not over. The story has not been told yet. We are still writing the book. We just have to move on to the next chapter. So what I want to do today is I want you to start getting ready for all of the things that you're going to need to move beyond 2020. And one of them is to, this is a time where we really have to take our health seriously and take our wealth seriously. I think we are very clear in understanding that if we ignore either, then we are subject to a virus, and not just the coronavirus, but the virus of poverty, the virus of depression, the virus of debt, the virus of overspending, and the virus of continuing to stay in the same financial place that we've stayed for a very, very long time. And I think it's just time for us to get out. I think it's time for us to take responsibility. And I think it's time for us to get the knowledge that we need to move to the next level. You see, knowledge is not power until you take action. Let me repeat, knowledge is not power until you take action. So what I want you to think about right now, what are all the things that you have knowledge about that you have not taken any action on? What are the things that you are knowledgeable about that you would benefit from if you removed fear, if you removed doubt, if you removed blockers, if you removed all of the obstacles to getting where you want to be? What would you accomplish? Who would you be? Where would you go? How would that look for you? Well, what I want to do is I want us to go back to the basics, and I want us to deal with a topic that I've dealt with it over the years, actually over the decades. But I'd like to revisit it now because it's really important for us to start to think about who we're going to become after this season and who we are going to rise to during this season, because this season is causing all of us to rise to an entirely different level. I had a great training with my speakers. I have launched the Speak, Wealth, and Live Academy and Speakers Bureau. And not only am I training speakers across the country and the world, I am also positioning them for opportunities to earn an income for themselves, to create podcasts, to monetize their voice, to monetize their message. And one of the very first things that we have to do if we're going to get out here and do the next thing and grind to keep it moving is we have to know who we are. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to go back to the basics on something. I remember doing this for the very first time. And it was a Saturday morning and I was on the radio and I had a 1-hour show and I did this lesson, and Melody asked me to stay on for another hour. And from that point on, I had a 2-hour show. It was only once a week. So don't get any bright ideas. I can only do an hour right now, y'all. Okay, they got me working. So here we go. We're going to talk about creating your master achievement plan. Now, I have a class that goes through this in much greater detail, but I want to give you the highlights. The first thing that you want to do as you reinvent, as you recreate, as you take a look at what's not working and what you want to work, and you look at your mistakes, and even if you look at your successes, you see the success that you have now, the things that you did to get there are not going to be the things that you do to get to the next level of success. Whatever brought you here won't get you there, good, bad, or indifferent. I've often said, my big brother Les Brown says, your best thinking got you here. And you can take that in a positive way or a negative way. If you're in a bad situation, your best thinking got you there. So get some new thinking. If you're in a good situation, your best thinking got you there. And if you want to get to the next best thing, you got to get some new thinking in order to get there. So we want to talk about, who am I? Who are you? What are you here for? What is your purpose? Chadwick Boseman spoke so eloquently about purpose, so much so that it was my message the following Sunday when I had to speak at Cali Worship Center, where I am the pastor of stewardship, believe it or not. Yes, they wrote me on in for that too. He spoke so eloquently about purpose. And he said something that really gave me chills. He started off with Jeremiah 29:11, which is one of my favorite scriptures. As a matter of fact, if you take any of my classes, then you know I quote that scripture at least twice a week, because I teach how to start a home-based business, and it's how I open up that webinar. I open up that webinar with God has plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future, because many people are feeling hopeless, and the truth is He has plans for us. And with those plans, even in a bleak season, we are destined to keep moving, and we're destined to accomplish all that we can accomplish if we keep moving. But we have to stay on the path. We have to stay in the cycle. We have to stay connected to the people who are going to give us life, and start to disconnect from the people who are going to do us harm and bring us death. And Chadwick said this, and it was just so amazing. He says, sometimes you need to feel the pain and sting of defeat to activate the real passion and purpose that God predestined inside of you. God says in Jeremiah, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. You would rather find purpose than a job or career. Purpose crosses disciplines. Purpose is an essential element of you. Your very existence is wrapped up in the things you are here to fulfill. Woo! Every time I hear it, say it, think about it, it just brings me right back to the moment when I found my purpose. I remember being a young mother and being a young wife, and graduating from college and having a professional job. But I also remember being sad. I didn't have any particular reason why I was sad. My husband treated me well. We lived in a nice apartment. For all intent and purposes, I was doing well, but there was no fire in me, and I knew it. And I did not know that there was no fire in me until there was fire in me. So some of us are walking around every day, feeling melancholy or something bland, without seasoning, no salt, no pepper, no paprika, no seasoning salt. We feel seasonless. And it's probably because either you don't know your purpose, you haven't met your purpose, you know your purpose, but you aren't living in it. And that's how I felt. And I was helping a very good friend get approved for a mortgage. I was not in the mortgage business, mind you. She had gotten denied for mortgage, and she told me what happened, and it didn't make any sense. They wouldn't give her a mortgage because she didn't have a job, but she had a degree, and she had a job in her degree. And so I said, you need to go back and tell them this, that, and the other, take them your degree. She did what I told her. She got a house. She said, you should do this. And I'm thinking, mortgages? Like, who would do that? I didn't think that was a career. Then I looked it up, saw how they were helping people, how much money you could make. And wow, that was number one for me, to be able to help people, but also to control my income. And so when I started in the mortgage business, I came to life. I know it. I didn't realize it till 20 years later. I think maybe a few years ago. That's when I realized that's when I came to life. Everything before that was a blur. It was okay. When you find your purpose, you will come to life. So I want you to think about it. Who are you? Why are you here? If you had to stand up before God in the world, what are you put here to do? Until you define and own that, there will be a seasonless feeling. And I believe that you can live and walk in your purpose. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, our favorite radio station. We have to take a break for traffic and weather. We'll be right back. WVON.
Sync your life with Denise Wiggins and Lip Sync Cosmetics. Do you need extra cash? Want to start a home-based business known around the globe? Do you want to join a sisterhood that is growing by leaps and bounds? Then become a Lip Sync Cosmetic ambassador. Visit www.lipsyncosmetics.com. That's www.lipsyncosmetics.com and submit your ambassador application today.
Hey, now, welcome back. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation. We are creating millionaires one family at a time, and that means you. And we are talking about moving beyond 2020. We're still strategizing to get out of this thing, and not only to survive, but also to thrive. And if you want to do that, the very first thing that I talked about was finding your purpose, colliding with your purpose, running into your purpose. Your purpose is not something that you can go and, look up in a book. Your purpose probably isn't something that you can even really articulate unless you already know what it is. Some of you know what your purpose is. You know what you're supposed to do. You're just not doing it. Hard-headed, just like I was. Knowing I'm supposed to teach the people, and I'm running around the country with celebrities and doing all of this. And it was great. And that was my purpose too. But there came a time when I needed to go back to the basics. I needed to go back to the core. And so here I am talking and teaching and still doing all the other things that God has planned for me to do. But now it's all come together in what? This one beautiful symphony. So I talk about the symphony. I talk about purpose in my book, The Symphony. Because a lot of people are trying to find their purpose by finding the right job. And as Mr. Chadwick Boseman, rest his soul, said, purpose transcends careers. It crosses disciplines. It's an essential element of you. It wouldn't matter where you showed up. Your purpose would follow you. Your purpose would help whatever you do manifest. It's why I'm ultimately the same person everywhere I go, as a pastor at Cali Worship Center, as the president of Hip Hop Sisters Foundation, as the president of Sunny Girl Entertainment, as the president of Partners in Rhyme Partners LLC, as a teacher, a trainer, a leader, a radio show host, a talk show host. By the way, y'all need to watch Vaughn TV. The Millionaires Roundtable is live. Yes, we are doing great things. We are making it happen. So make sure you check your local listings and find us. So many great things are happening there as well. And, until I was able to accept all of that, I could not really be good at any of it. You see, now that I'm working in my full purpose, everything has come to fruition. Everything has come full circle. So you cannot ignore one part of who you are and think that the other parts are going to benefit. Let me explain what I mean. I have been doing this for a long time. And I have a wonderful husband. I have 3 adult daughters. It's so funny because my husband will say, well, the kids. I'm like, kids, they're grown. He keeps on saying the kids. I'm like, okay, the kids. I guess they'll always be our kids. But I've raised 3 beautiful daughters. 1 graduated from college. 2 are still at Howard. And I have a wonderful marriage to a man who I love, who has always treated me like a queen. And even though I am out here in everybody's face telling them what to do, I also have to be true to my role as a wife, to my role as a mother. And so no matter where I was on the road, if my children needed me, they had me, period. That's it. There is no if or, now, yes, I had to make some choices. I couldn't be at every cheerleading practice or every game or every award ceremony. But we talked about that. And my kids understood what we were creating and that I was the quarterback, the point guard, the rainmaker. And so I had to go and get the stuff and bring it back in. Everybody understood that, but we were all on the same team, floating and flowing and grinding together. There's no such thing as having a wonderful career and your children are miserable, your husband's miserable, your wife is miserable. All of it needs to come together. And so in fulfilling all of the pieces of who I am, now that doesn't mean being everything to everybody, because there's some things in life that you simply cut off. There's some things that you simply cannot do. One of them is, people calling randomly, asking to borrow money. I can't do it. I cannot do it. Now, what I will do is give you a job. I will give you a job and a 1099 so I can get my money back. And so you can gain a valuable skill and also support the enterprise. And you'll be surprised when you start to put stipulations in place for the things that people want from you. You'd be surprised how they act. I've had people cut me off because I said no and I offered them a job instead. Wow, what does that tell you? Anyway, this whole idea of living in your purpose means that you are operating in harmony. Everything might not be the same. It all may not be balanced. When people say balance, I don't know what that is, because I go hard. I'm either all the way over here or all the way over there. But there's harmony. You can tell when there's harmony, just like when you hear people sing and there's harmony, it sounds good and it's flowing together. And so in your purpose and in finding your purpose and colliding with your purpose, I would say that you aim for harmony, right? And get rid of those things that don't serve you. If you're holding on to a job simply because it's a job and you know that there's something else you should do. Now, I am not saying make an unintelligent decision and just quit your job, but you should definitely have a plan. You should definitely figure out what's next for you. And you should hold on to that job as long as you can to meet your needs. Don't just go out there and be flat broke like I was. Okay, don't do that. It happened to me because the recession hit in 2008 and so on and so forth. But I recovered. God is good. But don't hold on to something forever simply because you are comfortable. If you are in a comfort zone, it actually means that you're not comfortable. So I'm going to challenge you to go out and find your purpose, because if you settle for less, you'll get even less than that. All right. You don't want to settle. As we move beyond 2020, you want to get beyond the crisis, beyond the virus, beyond the down, beyond the depression, and beyond your own self. You want to move beyond your own potential. Okay. So living in your purpose is all a part of that. We're going to talk about how you are going to step into your purpose. We're only dealing with the first part. There's a lot that happens in the Master Achievement Plan, and it's a class that you can actually take. You can go to asklynn.org. You can take the class, send me an inquiry. You'll get an immediate reply, or just go to the website and search the word master. You'll find Master Achievement Plan. But today we're living in purpose because we need to be on purpose, because we need our money on purpose. And that money needs to have a purpose, and our wealth and our sanity and our prosperity in our generations. There is purpose. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I'm your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON. We have to take a break for news, traffic, and weather. We'll be right back.
Creating generational wealth one family at a time is the mission of Lynn's List member Monica Poland with RE/MAX Synergy. Do you want to buy commercial or residential real estate? Are you a first-time home buyer or investor? Need help with a short sale or property staging? Visit www.lynnmillionaire.com. That's www.lynnmillionaire.com to schedule your consultation with Lynn's List member Monica Poland of RE/MAX Synergy.
Hey, now welcome back. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, our favorite radio station. And we are creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, and one dime at a time. And that means you. And why are we talking about purpose on the Millionaires Roundtable? Let me tell you, because I don't know anybody who's living in their purpose, I don't know anybody who's a millionaire who's not living in their purpose and happy. Okay. Maybe there's some millionaires out there doing drugs or selling drugs or doing whatever they're doing. But I'm talking about living out loud on purpose, in harmony. Everybody that I know who is wealthy and at peace with their wealth, they are also living in their purpose. Okay. So purpose will lead you to the money that you're looking for. If you live on purpose, the money will follow you. There's a wonderful saying by our esteemed and forever President Barack Obama, where he says, basically, you need to hitch yourself to a bigger wagon than money. When you hitch yourself to a bigger purpose, then everything that you dream of comes to fruition, because you cannot buy joy. You cannot buy a smile. You cannot buy a true, peaceful heart that is existing in harmony. And that's what happens when you start to live in purpose. So how do you live in purpose? How do you find your purpose? How do you collide with your purpose? How do you discover your purpose? I say the first thing that you do is you decide that you are no longer in control. Let go and let God. Let him use you for the reason that he made you, because he knows why he made you. You just need to get in agreement. Okay? You know, when I was in my 20s, I had 52 jobs. You could come to my house on a Saturday. I could do your hair, do your nails. They might be a little lumpy, but that's okay. I could write you a resume, teach you how to go interview for the job and get the job. Now, keeping it was your problem, okay? But I could write a resume and a cover letter that would get anybody in the interview. And then if you would allow me, that's when you had to get the classified ad out of the newspaper. You know, applying for jobs were kind of easy back then. Now applying for a job is a job. It takes you 45 minutes, to an hour to put all that stuff online. But back in those days, that's what I knew how to do. I could teach you how to quit your man or your woman, get a new one. I had an insurance license. Let me tell you, I had so many things going on. Chasing money. That's what I was doing. I thought that I could find some happiness in the things that I was doing, but I didn't like doing nails at all. I had the little chair, all of that stuff. Hated doing people's hair. Don't even want to do my own hair. That's why, I'm natural under my piece, my little wig, that little thing that I put on. And let me tell you, they got a weave or a wig. The weave was too much work, so I just decided on the wig, and they look so nice. And I'm free. So I didn't like any of those things. And but the thing that I did like, I never wanted to stop doing. So once I found my purpose, getting people into homes, I remember being pregnant with my middle child, and I had my laptop. I was helping people buy houses. I sure was. And one of my clients, Miss Florinda Jackson, she might even be listening. I called her. She said, "Lynn, I thought you were in the hospital having a baby." I said, "What does that have to do with your house?" Because they had put me on the epidural and I wasn't having a baby till I don't know how many hours later. So I needed to pull some more credit reports and get some people approved for mortgages. Just crazy, but happy. Okay. So I allowed God to use me. I didn't even know that being a loan officer, going into the mortgage business was a career at all, let alone a notable one. But once I was told that I did it well, and then once I acknowledged, wow, you are really good at this, I made the changes that were necessary. And I went into the business and became massively successful, helped a lot of people, went to work for one of the world's largest financial institutions, helped them grow some programs. And, here I am today. So you got to let God use you for the purpose that he made you. He made me for that. He knew I was going to do that. I didn't know myself. I just had to allow myself to be led. You see, everything that God made, he made for a purpose. Let's take a fork, for example. It was made for a purpose. Whoever, was inspired to make it, I believe you were inspired by God if you make anything good. And the fork is used to pick up steak and, spaghetti. If you need to eat a steak, you're not going to go get a spoon. You are not going to go get a spoon. You're going to go get a fork. So the fork doesn't have to jump up and down. The fork doesn't have to say, "Hey, here I am." When you need a fork, you're going to go get it. So guess what? You don't have to worry. If you live in your purpose, when God needs you, he's coming to get you, whether you want to be gotten or not. Now, I know about that too. When they asked me to, would I entertain and explore and pray about being the pastor at Cali Worship, where Warren Campbell and First Lady Erica Campbell lead us, I said, I'm not church material. That's what I said. I'm like, I don't like those rules. And, I don't like for for judgment, and I don't like all of the stuff that goes along with it. But I have a beautiful church, a beautiful family. It's non-judgmental, but yes, we honor Christ and we live upright and so on and so forth. And so the truth is, I didn't want to do anything that had a rule to it. I want to come and go as I please and run all over. But the truth is, I have responsibilities and I am good at what I do. So I allowed myself to be used for that, even though I didn't want to. And look how God is blessing me and you as a result of it. So there may be some things that you are supposed to do that you don't want to do, but you do it because it's in your purpose. I didn't want to do the radio show. I didn't, but I could not tell Melody no. I just couldn't. I know I keep telling y'all that. I was like, where am I going to find the time? How am I going to do this? How am I going to talk every single day? And guess what? Here I am. So, and I've been blessed, and many people have been blessed as a result of this. And so I would not change this for the world. So let God use you for the purpose for which you were made. The second thing that you have to do is remember that you are a servant. If you are going to allow yourself to be used, then do not get a big head. Okay? Because I've been there and done that too. Get a big head, think you the biggest person on the earth. You know, what do they call it? I'm the head person in charge. The HPIC. Okay? I am the head person in charge. I am the head, not the tail. And you start getting a big head, and all of a sudden, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Bam. Remember that you are a servant. I learned how to be a servant at Pleasant Gift Missionary Baptist Church, where the Reverend Howard S. Nichols Sr. was pastor, and now Reverend Krista Austin is pastor, and Mother Sherry Sweat is still a mother, and my dear friend and sister Marva Nichols, who led me to Christ, her family. And I was a vice president at a major financial institution. But on Sundays at church, when I signed up to help, they had me serving dinner to the preacher and the visiting ministers. You know, I had no intention on doing that. I am allergic to manual labor. I quit the second day working at a department store. You know, you tell me to put my mind to work, I got you. You tell me to do a marketing plan, I got you. You tell me to organize something, I got you. But you tell me to go do some manual labor, let me tell you, Lynn Richardson will disappear on you so fast. But I had to do it. I had to come down because I was in the middle, coming out of living check to Monday and just making wrong decisions. And so learning how to serve taught me humility, and it taught me, to sit my butt down, basically. So remember that you are a servant. It doesn't matter how much I'm on TV or radio or any of that. Service. I literally think about my students, and I know many of my students are dealing with financial struggles and relationship issues and trying to figure out how to get their money to the next level. And I wish I could just take my heart and put it in theirs. I wish I could take my brain and put it in theirs, because I don't want people to suffer. But we all have to suffer until we get tired of suffering. And when we get tired of suffering, then we make the change. So service is the core essential element of why you are here. You are here to be of use and of value to someone. I think about Grandma B. She provided service by keeping people's homes clean. And when my housekeeper comes, let me tell you, these are the best days of my life when she's here, because everything is spick and span. She can come in and clean the whole place in 2 hours. It will take me 2 weeks. Okay. Now I know how to clean. Let's be clear. When I first got married and growing up, we had cleanup week. We did not have spring break and all that stuff. You had to clean up. I know how to mop, sweep, clean a bathroom. I know how to keep an immaculate house. And I taught my children how to do the same thing. But at some point, I said somebody else needs to do this, because I am inefficient and ineffective, and I am not living in my purpose. In addition to that, I get to help someone else who is, provide them with an income, and so on. But at the end of the day, it's all service. If you're the president, it's service. If you're the CEO, it's service. If you pick up the garbage, it's service. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, we are all doing the same thing. We are providing service. And Colossians 3:23 says, work as if you are working for the Lord and not for men. That is the ultimate level of service. You are listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, our favorite radio station. And we are creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, and one dime at a time. And that means you. We're going to finish up on purpose. We're going to talk about purpose, and then we're going to finish up the discussion about purpose. But we still have so much more to go. We'll be right back. Traffic and weather, WVON.
Do you want to leave a legacy for your loved ones? Do you know the difference between an estate plan and a will? Are you newly engaged and concerned about getting a prenuptial agreement? Are you married to your child's mother or father? And do you know what happens to insurance money if you are not? Call your wealth counselor, Attorney Deidre Woodstokes. With over 22 years of experience, Attorney Stokes has all the answers you need to help you secure your family's financial future. You can find Attorney Stokes on Lynn's list at www.lynnmillionaire.com. That's www.lynnmillionaire.com, or call 888-LYNN-123. That's 888-596-6123. Protect your legacy now.
Hey, now welcome back. You're listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. It's WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, our favorite radio station. And we are creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, and one dime at a time. And that means you. You can live in your purpose. You can have $1 million net worth. You can work on it. You can have a retirement. You can be financially free. Yes, you can. It's possible. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. Okay? So we're talking about purpose because we are moving beyond 2020 and we are living beyond 2020. Okay? This is going to be our theme song for the rest of our lives. It'll be the year 4000 and we'll still be saying beyond 2020 because this thing has been something, okay? So we are preparing our strategy so that we can move and live and exist in it. You can't just do it. You have to think about it, plan it, and then focus on what it is that you want. And the very first thing you want to discover in this master achievement plan is, who am I? Why am I here? What is important about life to me? What is your purpose? Chadwick Boseman has given us the mandate to live in our purpose, to let our purpose cross disciplines. You can live on purpose and be a fireman, a doorbell ringer, or a dog catcher. You can be in 3 different things and still serve the same purpose. Okay? So purpose is what's going to feed you. Purpose is what feeds your soul. Purpose is what feeds your bank account. Purpose is what feeds your next generation. It's purpose. I dare you to find purpose. Number 1, allow God to use you. Number 2, remember that you are a servant. And number 3, stay away from crazy people. I don't have a better way to say that. That's it. Stay away from crazy people. Because let me tell you something. Folks, people will get you off track. And you don't have to make a big announcement. You just need to identify who's draining my energy. There are certain situations, scenarios, people, when you hear their name, it causes a reaction. Now, some of that might be because you need to forgive. If you are holding resentment, you need to let that go. Okay? But in other instances, there are people who simply drain you. And I started in my 30s, but by the time I was still in my 30s, because I'm still there. Come on now. I learned to identify that and call it out and say to people that we're not going to do. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to participate, or say nothing and simply don't participate and don't allow them in your space, period. Stay away from crazy people. You cannot get where you're trying to go. Some people are just rocket boosters. They're only designed to take you so far. And then when you elevate higher and higher, they got to drop off. It's okay. You're not leaving anybody behind. Don't let anybody tell you that you're leaving them behind. Because if they tell you that, then something is probably wrong. Unless you have gotten a little too cocky and you acted a fool. Okay. Here's what you want to do. Ask God not only to use you for what you were made for, and to remind you that you are a servant, but to surround you with the people who will help you manifest his will. Okay? Surround you with the right people. That might mean a whole new team. You may need to let some people go where you work, in your company. You may need to distance yourself from some associates or friends. Not that you're no longer friends or associates. You just don't have the energy right now, or now is not the time. You have to decide who's going to be in the front row of your life and who's going to be in the balcony and who's not even going to come in the building. You have to make that decision. Okay? That's a part of growing up. It's a part of being mature, and it is a part of living on purpose. And just because a relationship takes a hiatus doesn't mean it's completely over forever. People connect again and everybody's learned what they need to learn. Have you ever been in a situation where you hadn't seen somebody, the last time you saw them, everything was crazy? You were crazy, they were crazy, or both of you were crazy. And the next time you see them, it's like everything has changed, you included. See, be open for that. Allow time to heal things and listen and go and do what it is that you're supposed to do. You may have to disconnect from your children. You may have to disconnect from your significant other. You may have to disconnect from a parent. You may have to disconnect from a very good childhood friend. You may have to disconnect energetically. Okay? So you may live with someone that you have to disconnect from energetically. Physically, you are still there. You're going to be kind. You're going to be open. You're going to be pleasant, but they will no longer control your energy. You're going to make new decisions. You're going to live on purpose, and you are going to have purpose. And anybody who tries to get in the way of that purpose will know that you are on purpose. See, that's power. That's living beyond 2020. That's taking the bull by the horn and giving yourself the power that you need to grow. Because if you want to make money, if you want to grind, you're going to need energy. Energy is like money in the bank. Once you spend it, it's gone. So do not spend your energy on crazy people. You know what? We have so many things to talk about, and I'm not going to stop. But what I am going to tell you is get yourself together. Do you want to start your speaking career? Go to lynnrichardson.com and sign up for the speaker training. I am announcing my brand new speaker bureau. I'm so excited about these women. They are dynamic, but I'm training men too. Just so happened my first class was all women. I'm also training people to be in the Financial Coaches Boot Camp. Folks who want to become master financial coaches. Maybe you're a life coach, but you also want to provide financial services. Guess what? Become a part of the Entrepreneurs Academy, become a wealth ambassador, and now you can offer classes and you can earn an income. Now is the time to build multiple streams of income, because one stream of income is hazardous to your wealth. All right? And good health and good wealth go hand in hand. You are listening to the Millionaires Roundtable. I am your host, Lynn Richardson. It is WVON 1690 AM, the talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, our favorite radio station, and we are creating millionaires one family at a time, one day at a time, $1 at a time, and one dime at a time. Go visit me, asklynn.org. Follow me at Lynn Richardson. Follow this radio show at Lynn Millionaire, and go and get your classes at New Wealth University. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.